The research vessel Northern Star drifted silently through the darkness of deep space. It was humanity's first true venture beyond their solar system, a triumph of engineering and human cooperation. Captain Lisa Young stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the view screen that showed the magnificent spiral arms of an unexplored star system. "All systems nominal, Captain," reported Jack Miller from his communication station. "We're recording everything." Lisa nodded with satisfaction. After 3 years in space, the Northern Star had finally reached its destination. The crew of 32 scientists and space explorers represented the best Earth had to offer. Their mission was simple: observe, record, and return home with knowledge that would open the door to the stars. "Begin the survey sequence," Lisa ordered. "Let's make history." The ship's sensors came alive, collecting data about the system's planets, radiation levels, and potential resources. The mood on the bridge was one of quiet excitement. Humans had dreamed of this moment for centuries. No one noticed the small distortion in space behind them. The first warning came from Kate Winters at the sensor station. "Captain, I'm detecting an energy signature. I've never seen anything like this." Lisa frowned. "Origin? Unknown. It appears to be approaching from—" Kate's words were cut short as the ship rocked violently. Red alert klaxons blared throughout the Northern Star. The lights dimmed as emergency power kicked in. "We're under attack," shouted First Officer Paul, Garcia gripping his console to stay upright. "Direct hit to our starboard section." Lisa couldn't process what she was hearing. Attack? By whom? They were alone in the darkness between stars, an unarmed research vessel that posed no threat to anyone. "On screen, show me what's happening," she commanded. The view screen flickered before revealing their attacker. The alien vessel was like nothing human eyes had ever seen. A massive structure of gleaming purple metal shaped like a crescent, bristling with what could only be weapons. It was beautiful and terrifying. "Send emergency broadcast," Lisa ordered Jack. "All channels, all frequencies. Tell them we're a peaceful research mission." Jack's fingers flew across his console. "Broadcasting in all known formats, Captain. No response." The Northern Star shuddered as another blast struck them. Status reports flooded in from all decks. Hull breaches, fires, casualties. The science. Vessel had never been built to withstand an attack. "Can we run?" Lisa asked her pilot. Lieutenant Ben Howard shook his head grimly. "They hit our main drive. We're dead in space." The alien vessel fired again. This time, the blast tore through the ship's central section. Lisa was thrown across the bridge as panels exploded around her. Through the chaos, she saw her crew dying at their posts. "Everyone to escape pods," she ordered, blood streaming from a cut on her forehead. "Abandon ship, now." The surviving bridge crew scrambled toward the escape pods. Jack helped the injured. Kate, as Paul tried to keep the ship's systems online long enough for people to evacuate. Jack looked back at his captain. "What about you?" Lisa stood firm at her post. "Someone needs to keep them busy. Get as many people out as you can." Jack wanted to argue, but another blast rocked the ship. He knew she was right. Without a distraction, none of them would escape. He gave her one last salute before helping Kate into the escape corridor. In the final moments before the bridge was destroyed, Lisa Young sent one last message toward Earth. "Unknown hostile species encountered. Research vessel Northern Star, destroyed without provocation. We were not alone. Prepare." Jack crammed himself into the last functioning escape pod along with 3 other crew members. As the small craft ejected from the dying research vessel, he watched through the viewport as the Northern Star broke apart in a series of explosions. The alien vessel turned its attention to the fleeing escape pods. One by one, brilliant energy, beams struck them, leaving nothing but debris. Jack's pod was hit by the shockwave from another pod's destruction, sending it tumbling into the shadow of a small moon. "They're hunting us," whispered Dr. Ellen Morris, the ship's xenobiologist. She had burns across her arms from trying to save specimens in her lab. "Why? We did nothing to them." Jack didn't answer. He was too busy trying to shut down every system in the pod that might give away their position. The alien vessel continued its methodical destruction of the escape pods. Hours passed in tense silence. The four survivors watched as the alien ship finally moved away, apparently satisfied that it had eliminated all traces of human presence. "We need to get home," said engineer Sam Cooper, his voice hollow with shock. "Earth needs to know what happened here." Jack nodded grimly. "The pod has enough fuel for a short FTL jump. If we can reach the relay beacon we left at the edge of this system, we might be able to send a message." "And then what?" asked Kate, who had survived despite her injuries. "We're months away from the nearest human outpost." "Then we do what humans have always done," Jack replied, already plotting a course. "We survive, we adapt, and we make sure Lisa's sacrifice wasn't for nothing." As the small pod limped away, Jack noticed something floating among the debris of the Northern Star. At great risk, he maneuvered close enough to retrieve it, a fragment of the alien vessel sheared off during the battle. "What is that?" Ellen asked, her scientific curiosity overcoming her fear. Jack turned the strange metal over in his hands. It seemed to shimmer with an inner light, lightweight, yet incredibly strong. "This," he said quietly, "is our first piece of evidence. And maybe, just maybe, the key to fighting back." The pod continued its journey carrying four survivors and humanity's first alien artifact. Behind them, the stars shone coldly in the void, no longer symbols of hope and discovery, but a warning of dangers humanity had never imagined. On Earth, 27 days later, Admiral William Carter was awakened by an urgent call. A faint signal had been detected at the edge of the solar system, the emergency beacon from a Northern Star escape pod. The message was fragmentary, distorted by distance and damage, but its meaning was clear. Humanity was not alone in the galaxy, and their first neighbors were not friendly. Carter stared at the transcript for a long moment before reaching for the secure phone that would connect him to the president. The words on the screen would change human history forever. "Under attack, unknown species, no provocation, prepare Earth. They are coming." The age of human innocence was over. The age of preparation had begun. 5 years passed since the Northern Star incident. Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined before first contact. Old enemies now worked side by side. Countries that once pointed nuclear weapons at each other now shared technology and resources. Humanity had united with a single purpose: survival. Jack Miller stood at the observation window of Luna Base Alpha, watching Earth rotate slowly below. The blue planet looked peaceful from here. No one looking at it would guess that beneath its surface, in hardened bunkers and hidden facilities, the most ambitious military buildup in human history was underway. "Beautiful view," said a voice behind him. Jack turned to see Susan Ross, director of the Earth Defense Initiative. Her hair had more gray in it than when they'd first met, but her eyes were as sharp as ever. "Sometimes I forget what we're fighting for," Jack admitted. "Up here it all seems so far away." Susan joined him at the window. "That's why I asked you to meet me here. We need to remember what's at stake." Jack nodded. In the 5 years since, he'd returned with the alien metal fragment and news of the attack. His life had become a whirlwind of military briefings, technology development, and preparation. The nightmare of watching his crewmates die never left him, but it had hardened into resolve. "I have something to show you," Susan said. "The reason we brought you to the moon." They walked through the corridors of the base. What had once been a small research station was now a massive complex extending deep below the lunar surface. Thousands of people worked here, hidden from the prying sensors of any alien observers who might be watching Earth. Susan led Jack to a massive airlock. As it cycled open, they stepped into a cavernous chamber carved from the lunar rock. Jack's mouth fell open at what he saw. A spaceship filled the chamber, unlike anything humans had built before. It was sleek and deadly looking, its hull made of a strange metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "We call it the Defiance," Susan said with pride. "The first of Earth's new defense fleet." "How?" Jack whispered, walking toward the massive vessel. "We didn't have this kind of technology 5 years ago." We had help. Susan gestured to a man working beneath the ship. Meet Kyle Bennett, our chief engineer. Kyle looked up from his work and waved. He had grease streaks on his face and the intense look of someone who had forgotten to sleep. He climbed down from his perch and joined them. The alien fragment you brought back, Kyle explained, wiping his hands on a rag. We've been studying it, reverse engineering what we could. It taught us more in 5 years than we might have learned in 50. Jack reached out to touch the hull of the Defiance. It felt warm, almost alive under his fingers. This is made from the same material? Not exactly, Kyle said. We couldn't reproduce it perfectly, but we created something similar by combining our own alloys with what we learned. It's stronger than anything we've ever built. Susan guided Jack toward an elevator at the rear of the ship. The hull is just the beginning. Wait until you see the weapons. Inside the Defiance, the corridors were a hive of activity. Engineers tested systems, soldiers trained at various stations, and scientists monitored displays filled with data Jack couldn't understand. Susan led him to the bridge where a tall man in a captain's uniform was reviewing reports. Captain Ryan Phillips, Susan introduced. He'll command the Defiance when she launches. Ryan shook Jack's hand firmly. An honor to meet you, sir. Your warning gave us a chance. Before Jack could respond, an alarm sounded. The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency as screens came to life around them. What's happening? Jack asked, feeling his heart rate spike. Had they been discovered? Scheduled test, Ryan explained calmly. Dr. Grant is demonstrating the gravity lance. A large view screen showed a small asteroid in lunar orbit. A beam of distorted space shot out from a testing platform, striking the rock. Instead of exploding, the asteroid seemed to collapse in on itself, crushed by invisible forces. My God, Jack breathed. The gravity lance, said a woman who approached from the science station. I'm Olivia Grant. I designed it. Olivia looked more like a friendly teacher than a weapons designer. She pushed her glasses up her nose as she explained. We adapted principles from the alien tech you brought back. It manipulates gravitational fields, creating a localized distortion that can crush almost anything. Will it work against their ships? Jack asked. In theory, Olivia said. We won't know for sure until we try it in combat. Susan gestured for them to follow her to a conference room off the bridge. Inside, Admiral William Carter waited. The man who had debriefed Jack 5 years ago had become the most powerful military leader on Earth, the commander of humanity's United Defense Forces. Miller, Carter nodded. Good to see you again. You too, sir, Jack replied. Though I wish it were under better circumstances. Carter activated a holographic display showing the solar system. Red markers appeared at the edges. Our deep space sensors detected these anomalies 3 days ago. They're using some kind of stealth technology, but thanks to what we learned, from studying the fragment we can see them now. Jack stared at the display. They're coming. They've been watching us, Carter said grimly. Probably expected us to continue on as before, not knowing the danger. But thanks to you and the other survivors, we've had time to prepare. Susan stepped forward. The Defiance is ready for launch, Admiral. The Valiant and Guardian will be ready within 2 months. Carter nodded. It may not be enough time. Our intelligence suggests the alien fleet is larger than we anticipated. We can't just wait for them to attack, Jack argued. The Northern Star had no chance because they were caught by surprise. We should use that same advantage. The room fell silent as everyone considered his words. What are you suggesting, Miller? Carter asked quietly. A preemptive strike, Jack said. We know they're out there. The Defiance is ready. Let's take the fight to them before they reach Earth. Ryan straightened his uniform. The crew is prepared, sir. We've been training for this. Carter studied the display for a long moment. A direct assault would be suicide, but he zoomed in on one of the red markers. Our scouts identified this as an outpost, smaller, less defended. If we could strike there, disrupt their communications, slow their advance. Send us, Admiral, Ryan said firmly. The Defiance was built for this. Carter looked at each person in the room. This mission would be extremely high risk. We'd be revealing that we're not the helpless prey they think we are. Good, Jack said. Let them know that humans don't go quietly. Let them know we're armed and ready. Carter's weathered face broke into a grim smile. Very well. Operation Thunderbolt is a go. Captain Phillips, prepare your crew. You launch in 48 hours. As they filed out of the room, Jack paused beside Olivia. Do you think we have a chance? The physicist looked at her hands, the hands that had created weapons of unimaginable power. 5 years ago, I would have said no. But now? She looked up at him with determination. We've accomplished the impossible already. Perhaps we can do it again. The Defiance waited in its lunar berth, humanity's best hope against the darkness. In 2 days it would carry Earth's message to the stars. We will not go quietly into the night. The Defiance moved silently through the darkness of space, flanked by 2 smaller vessels, the Swift and the Thunder. Together, they formed humanity's first combat fleet. The ships used a special stealth system based on the alien technology, making them nearly invisible to long-range scanners. Captain Ryan Phillips sat in the command chair on the bridge, studying the tactical display. They had been traveling for 3 weeks, following the coordinates provided by Earth's scout ships. Their target outpost Craxus was just ahead. All hands to battle stations, Ryan ordered. Prepare for our approach. Throughout the massive ship, crew members moved with purpose. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Kyle Bennett made final adjustments to the experimental drive system. In the weapons bay, Dr. Olivia Grant ran diagnostics on the gravity lance. And on the bridge, communications specialist Amy Daniels monitored all channels for alien transmissions. Jack Miller stood at the rear of the bridge. He wasn't officially part of the crew, but Admiral Carter had insisted he join the mission. You were there at first contact, Carter had told him. You should be there when we answer back. Dropping out of FTL in 3, 2, 1, announced the pilot, Lieutenant Chris Ward. The stars around them shifted as the Defiance returned to normal space. The view screen showed their target. Outpost Craxus orbited a small, rocky moon. It was larger than they had expected, a sprawling complex of alien structures surrounding a central hub. Several warships, similar to the one that had destroyed the Northern Star, were docked at various points. They outnumber us 3 to 1, Ryan observed calmly. Just as we expected. Jack felt his heart rate increase. The aliens, the Zellarians as Earth had named them, had no idea humans had developed this level of technology. The element of surprise was their greatest weapon. Launch the drones, Ryan ordered. From the Swift and the Thunder, small, unmanned, craft deployed. They zipped toward the outpost, programmed to emit signals that would confuse the alien sensors. Enemy vessels are moving to intercept the drones, reported Tactical Officer Steve Mason. They haven't spotted us yet. Ryan nodded. Execute attack pattern Delta. Target the central communications array. Fire when ready. The Defiance moved forward, its engines glowing with blue energy. The gravity lance powered up, drawing enormous amounts of energy from the ship's core. In range in 5 seconds, Olivia reported from the weapons station. 4, 3, 2, 1, firing. A beam of distorted space shot from the Defiance, striking the central hub of the alien outpost. The structure didn't explode. Instead, it crumpled inward as if being crushed by invisible hands. Alarms began blaring throughout the outpost. Direct hit, Olivia shouted, a rare show of emotion from the normally calm scientist. Communications array destroyed. The element of surprise was gone. The alien warships turned toward the human vessels, weapons charging. Evasive maneuvers, Ryan ordered. Swift and Thunder, commence attack pattern Epsilon. The smaller human ships darted forward, firing conventional weapons at the alien vessels. They were like wasps attacking bears, not powerful enough to kill, but dangerous and distracting. The bridge of the Defiance shook as enemy fire struck their shields. Shields holding at 80%, reported Steve. But they're focusing their fire. We can't take much more of this. Amy looked up from her station. Captain, I'm picking up transmissions between the ships. They're confused. They don't understand how we got here or where our technology came from. Good, Ryan said grimly. Let's confuse them even more. Activate the holographic projectors. Outside the ship, light arrays created the illusion of a dozen more human vessels appearing from nowhere. It was just a trick, but in the chaos of battle, it might buy them precious seconds. The gravity lance needs 2 more minutes to recharge, Olivia called out. We may not have 2 minutes, Ryan responded as another blast rocked the ship. Shields at 60%. Jack gripped a railing to keep his balance. He watched as the Swift took a direct hit from an alien destroyer, its hull breaching in multiple places. Swift is critically damaged, Steve reported. They're evacuating to emergency pods. Ryan's face was a mask of concentration. Thunder, retrieve those pods. We need to buy them time. He turned to Olivia. We can't wait for a full recharge. Give me whatever power the lance has now. It won't be at full strength, she warned. The effect will be unpredictable. That's what I'm counting on, Ryan replied. Target their largest vessel and fire. The gravity lance discharged again, this time emitting a pulse rather than a beam. The wave of distorted space rippled outward, catching the largest alien warship. Instead of crushing it, the wave tore the ship apart, pulling it in different directions as gravity itself became unstable around it. The unexpected destruction of their flagship caused the remaining alien vessels to pause their attack. In that moment of hesitation, the Thunder swooped in, collecting escape pods from the damaged Swift. All pods retrieved, Amy reported. Thunder is returning to formation. The alien ships regrouped, preparing for another assault. The Defiance's shields were failing, and the gravity lance would need 10 minutes for a full recharge. We've done what we came to do, Ryan said. Prepare for emergency FTL jump. But Jack stepped forward. Wait, there's one more thing we need to do. He turned to Amy. Can you broadcast on their frequencies, make sure they all hear us? Amy nodded, quickly adjusting her equipment. Ready when you are. Jack took a deep breath and spoke clearly. This is Jack Miller of Earth. 5 years ago, you destroyed our research vessel without warning or provocation. You thought we were helpless. You were wrong. What you've seen today is just a small demonstration of our capabilities. Return to your empire with this message. Leave Earth alone. We are armed and ready. Amy cut the transmission. Message sent on all frequencies, translated into their language patterns as best as our computers could manage. Ryan gave the order to jump, and the human vessels disappeared into FTL, leaving behind a damaged outpost and confused alien forces. As they sped back toward Earth, Kyle approached Jack on the observation deck. I found something in the data we collected during the battle, he said, showing Jack a tablet. Look at these energy signatures from their ships. Jack studied the readings. What am I looking at? Evidence that the Zellarians aren't alone, Kyle explained, his face grave. These power signatures don't match what we saw 5 years ago. They've been upgraded, enhanced with technology that isn't theirs. You're saying there are other alien species involved? Kyle nodded slowly. I think the Zellarians are just one part of something bigger, a coalition or empire of different species, and based on these readings, some of them are far more advanced than the Zellarians. Jack looked out the viewport at the streaking stars. They had won their first battle, but the war might be larger than anyone on Earth had imagined. He thought of Captain Lisa Young and the crew of the Northern Star. Their sacrifice had given humanity time to prepare, but was it enough? Behind them, a damaged but intact alien scout ship followed at a distance, tracking their course back to Earth. Inside, alien eyes watched and alien minds calculated. The humans had surprised them once, it wouldn't happen again. The return of the Defiance to Earth was met with both celebration and concern. The mission to Outpost Craxus had been a success, but Kyle's discovery about the larger alien coalition changed everything. In the months that followed, Earth's leaders gathered to determine their next move. Admiral William Carter stood before the United Earth Defense Council, comprised of representatives from every nation. The chamber was silent as he presented the findings from Operation Thunderbolt. The alien force we call the Zolarians appears to be just one member of a larger galactic organization, he explained. Our analysts believe this coalition may include dozens of species, some far more advanced than others. Susan Ross, seated next to Jack Miller, leaned forward. What are our options, Admiral? We can continue building our defenses and wait for their full attack, Carter replied. Or we can try something more proactive. The room erupted in debate. Some argued for focusing entirely on defense, creating a fortress of Earth and its colonies. Others pushed for more aggressive action, striking deeper into alien territory. Jack listened to the arguments, remembering the destruction of the Northern Star. Defense alone wouldn't save them. Neither would blind aggression. After the room quieted, he stood. There may be a third option, he said. The council members turned to look at him, the survivor whose warning had given them time to prepare. We know there's a larger coalition. What if we approach them directly, not as enemies, but as potential allies? The idea was radical. Carter frowned. You want us to talk to the very beings who tried to wipe us out? Not the Zolarians specifically, Jack clarified. The coalition they belong to. If the Zolarians attacked us without permission from their coalition, exposing that fact might create a diplomatic opening. Dr. Nicole Harris, Earth's leading expert in alien language and culture, stood. Jack's idea has merit. During our analysis of the transmissions from Outpost Craxus, we found references to a place called Galaxis Prime, a neutral trading hub where coalition representatives gather. Slowly, a daring plan took shape. Earth would send a diplomatic mission to Galaxis Prime, but one backed by military strength. Admiral Carter would lead an expanded fleet, including the newly commissioned battleships Valiant and Guardian alongside the repaired Defiance. 3 months later, the fleet was ready. Jack found himself once again aboard the Defiance, this time joined by Dr. Harris and a small team of diplomats. This is either the bravest or the most foolish thing we've ever attempted, Nicole said as they prepared for departure. She had spent weeks studying alien communication patterns and protocols, preparing for what would be humanity's first diplomatic contact with multiple alien species. Sometimes those are the same thing, Jack replied with a small smile. The journey to Galaxis Prime took 6 weeks. As they approached the coordinates, the fleet dropped out of FTL to witness an astounding sight. Galaxis Prime wasn't a planet, but an enormous space station, a gleaming ring structure orbiting a small sun. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species docked at various points around its circumference. It's beautiful, Nicole whispered, staring at the view screen. Their arrival did not go unnoticed. Almost immediately, alien vessels moved to intercept them. The communication system lit up with incoming transmissions in various languages. They're ordering us to identify ourselves and state our purpose, Nicole translated. Some seemed confused, others alarmed. Admiral Carter, now aboard the Valiant as fleet commander, opened a channel to all Earthships. This is the moment we've prepared for. Remember, we come seeking peace, but we will not hesitate to defend ourselves if attacked. The Earth fleet maintained formation as Nicole sent their response. We are representatives of Earth, seeking diplomatic contact with the Galactic Coalition regarding unprovoked aggression against our world. Minutes passed in tense silence. Finally, a response came through. Coordinates for a docking bay large enough for a shuttle, and permission for a small delegation to board the station. Admiral Carter selected the team personally. Himself, Nicole, Jack, and a security detail led by Lieutenant Maria Freeman. The shuttle departed from the Valiant, escorted by 2 fighter craft from the Defiance. As they docked at Galaxis Prime, Jack felt a mix of wonder and apprehension. Through the viewport, he could see beings of various shapes and sizes moving through the station, some humanoid, others utterly alien in form. Stay alert, Carter warned as the airlock opened. We're making history today, one way or another. The delegation was met by tall, slender beings with blue skin and forearms. Nicole identified them as Araxians, one of the older species in the coalition. They led the humans through corridors filled with strange sights and sounds to a large chamber where representatives from various species waited. At the center of the room stood a semicircular table. Behind it sat 7 aliens, each different from the others. These, Nicole whispered, must be the Dominion Council, the governing body of the coalition. Humans of Earth, spoke one being, its words translated through devices provided by their escorts. Your presence here is unprecedented and disturbing. You claim to seek diplomacy, yet you arrive with weapons of war. Admiral Carter stepped forward. We come armed because our only previous contact with your coalition was an unprovoked attack. On our research vessel, the Northern Star, we sought no conflict, yet conflict found us. The council members exchanged glances. A tall reptilian being leaned forward. We have no record of authorizing any action against your world. Perhaps you should ask the Zalarian representatives, Jack suggested. They destroyed our ship without warning 5 years ago. A commotion erupted among the council. After a heated discussion in various languages, the reptilian being turned back to the humans. The Zalarian Empire claims the right to eliminate potential threats before they develop. They considered your exploration vessel a first step toward expansion into their territory. We were scientists, not soldiers, Jack said firmly, and we had no knowledge of the Zalarians or any other alien civilization. Nicole opened a data pad and projected images of the Northern Star, showing its scientific equipment and unarmed design. Then, with Carter's nod, she showed footage from the Defiance's mission to Outpost Craxus. This is what we became because of the Zalarian attack, Carter explained. We had no interest in weapons of war until we were forced to defend ourselves. Jack moved forward. We have evidence that the Zalarians have been systematically eliminating emerging species like ours. Does your Dominion approve of such actions? The council fell silent. Finally, a small avian being spoke. If what you claim is true, the Zalarians have violated our founding principles. The Dominion was created to foster cooperation, not conquest. To demonstrate Earth's capabilities, Carter ordered a controlled display of the gravity lance's power against an uninhabited asteroid near the station. The council watched in stunned silence as the massive rock imploded. We come seeking neither war nor conquest, Carter stated firmly. But make no mistake, attack us again, and we will respond with the full might of Earth. We are armed and ready, but we would rather be allies than enemies. The council called for a recess to deliberate. While waiting, Nicole made a startling discovery. Analyzing communication patterns in the station, she identified signals from several other young species, civilizations at roughly Earth's level of development, all living in fear of the Dominion. We're not alone, she told Jack excitedly. There are others like us trying to find their place in the galaxy. Jack looked around the station with new eyes. What had begun as a desperate gamble to protect Earth might become something far more important, a chance to create a new balance of power among the stars. The Dominion Council returned after hours of deliberation. The human delegation stood ready, uncertain what verdict would be delivered. Admiral Carter's hand rested near his sidearm, while Nicole clutched her translation device nervously. Representatives of Earth, began the reptilian counselor. We have reviewed your evidence and consulted our archives. We find truth in your claims. The Zalarian Empire has indeed exceeded its authority and violated our founding principles. Jack felt a wave of relief, but it was short-lived. However, continued the counselor, your rapid military advancement poses its own concerns. The Dominion exists to maintain order among the stars. We offer you this. Lay down your weapons, accept Dominion oversight, and we will discipline the Zalarians for their unauthorized aggression. Carter stepped forward. With respect, that is not acceptable. Earth will not surrender its right to self-defense, especially after being attacked without cause. The avian counselor tilted its head. Then what do you propose, humans? Jack and Nicole exchanged glances. This was the moment they had prepared for. Nicole nodded slightly and Jack addressed the council. We propose an alternative. During our short time here, we've discovered we are not alone in our situation. There are other emerging species who live in fear of being deemed potential threats by older civilizations. Nicole activated her datapad, displaying communications she had intercepted. At least 5 other young species have representatives secretly present at Galaxis Prime, all living under the shadow of possible elimination. The council members shifted uncomfortably. The truth was now in the open. We proposed the formation of a new alliance, Jack continued. The United Sentient Coalition, an organization of emerging species and any established civilizations who wish to join us, founded on principles of mutual respect and defense. The chamber erupted in noise as dozens of alien species began talking at once. From the crowd, several beings moved forward, representatives of the hidden young species Nicole had detected. A tall, feathered humanoid spoke first. The Valteri stand with Earth. We too have suffered attacks from peacekeeping missions. Another, being with crystalline skin that refracted light in beautiful patterns, joined them. The Luminar support this proposal. For too long we have hidden our technological advances for fear of being deemed threats. One by one, representatives of young species declared their support. Some had been in hiding for years, developing in secret. Others had been forced to accept humiliating restrictions on their development. The Dominion Council watched in growing alarm as the balance of power in the room shifted. Finally, the reptilian counselor raised all 4 of his hands for silence. "This is unprecedented," he hissed. "The Dominion has maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years. You would risk that stability for your independence?" "Peace through. Fear is not true peace," Carter replied firmly. "We offer a new way forward. Cooperation between equals, not subjugation of the young by the old." As the debate continued, an alert sounded throughout the station. A fleet of warships had arrived. Zellarian vessels, heavily armed and demanding that the humans be turned over to them. "It seems the Zellarians fear what we might reveal," Jack observed grimly. The Dominion Council faced a choice: support the humans and their coalition proposal, or side with the Zellarians and maintain the old order. The chamber fell silent as they conferred among themselves. In this tense moment, something unexpected happened. A holographic message appeared in the center of the room, a transmission from a prison facility on the Zellarian homeworld. The face that appeared made Jack gasp. "Captain Lisa Young," he whispered. Lisa looked older, bearing scars from her captivity, but her eyes still held the same determination they had on the Northern Star 5 years ago. "I am Captain Lisa Young of Earth," she began, her voice strong, despite obvious pain. "I have been held prisoner since the unprovoked attack on my vessel. I testify before any who can hear that my ship was on a peaceful mission. We posed no threat." The message cut off abruptly, but it had done its work. The Council could no longer ignore the truth. The Zellarians had not only attacked without cause, but had hidden the survival of the Northern Star's captain. The reptilian counselor rose to his full height. "The Zellarian fleet is ordered to stand down. Their actions have violated our most sacred principles." He turned to the human delegation. "We will not oppose your coalition. The time has perhaps come for a new approach to galactic relations." In the months that followed, events moved rapidly. A joint operation by Earth forces and volunteer ships from other young species rescued Captain Lisa Young and several other prisoners from various worlds. The mission, commanded by Captain Ryan Phillips of the Defiance, demonstrated the capabilities of the newly formed United Sentient Coalition. 1 year later, representatives gathered on New Haven, a neutral planet chosen as the headquarters for the Coalition. The signing of the Sentient Rights Accord marked the official founding of the new alliance. Ambassador Greg Mason, formerly Earth's top diplomat, stood before representatives of 12 species, both emerging and established, as they added their signatures. "Let it be known throughout the galaxy," Greg proclaimed, "that we stand together, armed and ready to defend the right of all sentient beings to determine their own destiny." From her seat of honor, Lisa Young watched with pride. Her sacrifice had not been in vain. She had been offered the position of Coalition Fleet Admiral but had declined, choosing instead to return to her first love, exploration. "The stars hold too many wonders for us to focus only on war," she told Jack as they stood on the observation deck later that evening. watching ships from a dozen worlds moving peacefully around New Haven. That's why I've accepted command of the Explorer. Jack smiled. The Explorer was the Coalition's new flagship research vessel, far larger and better equipped than the Northern Star had been. It would lead missions of peaceful discovery, protected by an escort of Coalition warships. We've come full circle, he observed. From exploration to war and back to exploration again. Lisa nodded, looking out at the stars. But this time, we go forward with open eyes. And with friends. On Earth, children of multiple species now studied together in the first interplanetary exchange program. In a classroom in Geneva, Dr. Olivia Grant had traded weapons design for teaching. She pointed to a star map showing the growing influence of the Coalition. Are humans still ready for war? Asked a young Valteri student. Olivia smiled. Always. But now we're armed with more than weapons. We're armed with knowledge, understanding, and allies. That's the greatest strength of all. As the Explorer prepared for its maiden voyage, Captain Lisa Young sent one final message to Earth. It was brief, but captured the spirit of humanity's new place in the galaxy. We came to the stars seeking knowledge and found danger. We prepared for war and found allies. Today we return to the stars as we always meant to, in peace, but ready for whatever awaits us. Humanity warned the galaxy once that we were armed and ready. Now we bring a new message. We are still armed, still ready, but we would rather be friends.